What's up, everybody? Watch the Fight Boxing Talk, back with another one. This time we're talking about David El Bandera Roja Benavidez, the Mexican Monster, versus Caleb, Where My Hug At, Sweet Hands Playing. Remember, subscribe and leave a comment for me. All right, let's get it. So this was the main event that took place on March 25th of 2023 in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. First and foremost, shout outs to both fighters for just showing up, because showing up is already half the battle. So big ups to both of them for stepping in the ring. Both fighters looked great at the weigh-ins. Caleb Plant was sliced up and diced up like an onion, and David Benavidez, he looked slim, trim, and ready for action. At first, I kind of thought David Benavidez looked a little bit weight drained, but it wasn't anything concerning to where I thought it was going to affect his performance. But coming into the ring on fight night, both fighters were in spectacular physical condition. David looked fresh and energized. Caleb looked like a lean, mean fighting machine. And then we get to the stare down. So this is where the games begin, right? So David Benavidez and Caleb Plant, they face off, while Kenny Bayless, the referee, he's going over the rules and letting them know what's required, what's expected of them. So while he's going over that and they're staring each other down, Kenny gets to the end of whatever he was discussing. He tells them to touch him up and he tries to get them to touch gloves. They don't touch gloves at all. David Benavidez, he like pulls his hand away. He's like, he hit him with the unhand me, you scoundrel. So he pulls his hand away, and then Caleb Plant, he just completely turns his back to David Benavidez. So they don't touch gloves at all. And then the look on Kenny Bayless's face, his face expression was funny. I gotta check that out.
And what I say, you must obey. Good luck. Touch him up.
Okay, so we get to round one. I personally called round one a draw. I couldn't see a clear winner in that round. I didn't know who to give it to. So maybe you guys can comment and let me know who y'all think took round one if y'all watched it. But I couldn't call a clear winner in that one. They were both pretty much evenly matched to me. They were being strategic and tactical. They were playing it safe. David was like a spring chicken in that round. He was very agile and he had sharp reflexes. And Caleb Plant, he was pretty sharp as well. Benavidez did not break character this whole fight. All right, David Benavidez approached this fight with the energy of, I want the smoke. We not cool. We not friends. I don't want to hear it. So he maintained that character. Every time Caleb Plant would extend his hand in the ring, David Benavidez would punch his hand out of the way. So he was just kind of showing that I'm not rocking with you. I don't like you at all. Round two. I gave round two to Caleb Plant. I think he was busier. I think he did more work in that round. He had a super effective jab. He moved around a lot and he clenched David whenever he needed to. David was more scoping and analyzing Caleb Plant. He was kind of figuring out his shots, figuring out how to pick his shots. And he was just learning how Caleb Plant fights, learning his attacks, learning his defense, just learning his style overall. Then we get to round three. I also gave round three to Caleb Plant. Again, he was more active. He was more effective. That jab was still landing. He was still super effective with the jab, very accurate with it. But David was actually starting to wake up and he was getting more active in this round and he's starting to punch a little bit more in this round too. So David's also picking up some momentum. Round four. I gave round four to Caleb Plant. He was more active and more effective with the shots that he was landing in that round. In the beginning of that round, David extended his hand like he was gonna dap up Caleb, and then Caleb tried to dap him up. But then David Benavidez, he pulled his hand away and he shook his head. He was like, nah. And then they both chuckled about it. So that was funny. At the end of the round, you saw Caleb Plant. He was actually taunting David Benavidez, like he did a little hula dance to taunt him. So that was round four. Round five, I think round five could go either way, but I gave round five to Plant ultimately. In this round, David invited Plant to the middle of the ring. He's like, he stops chasing him around. He kind of gets tired of chasing him because he's been walking him down for most of the rounds. And he's like, he tells him, come and meet me in the center. So they face off in the center, and then they get to work. In round 5, they start to taunt each other more. They're doing little gestures and stuff, and it's super entertaining for the crowd. The crowd is eating it all up. You know, everybody's going hype and getting crazy. But David is also figuring out Plant more in round 5. Then we get to round 6, and this is where the tides turn. This is where the Mexican monster enters the chat. All right, round 6 I gave to David Benavidez. One thing that I noticed that was not super effective is that David Benavidez is walking Plant down more, but he's not really attacking him, right? He'll walk him down, he'll get in front of him, and then he'll start to think, and then he'll throw shots. So in that round, he did catch him with a lot of great shots. I remember there was a point to where David Benavidez tells, you can hear him in the ring telling Plant, I hear you, I hear you. You know, he says it a couple times. I guess he hit Caleb Plant, and Caleb Plant either winced or he made a noise. And then you can see David telling him, I hear you, and he's kind of smirking about it. At the end of that round, you know, Caleb Plant did end up clinching him. He tied up David Benavidez. I think he was just in pain, and he was trying to stop more shots from coming. Round 7 was an easy call for me. Gave that round to David Benavidez. He was doing the better work. That one was a simple, self-explanatory, good round for David Benavidez. Round 8, I gave round 8 to David Benavidez. In this round, he catches Plant with a big shot. So he throws a right hook, catches Caleb Plant, and then Caleb Plant buckles, right? He almost falls. But he buckles a little bit, he catches his balance, and you can tell that Caleb Plant is getting tired. Right, he's gassing out. He's been doing a lot of movement in the previous rounds. He's fighting off of his back foot. So by this time, you can see it that he's gassed and he's getting super tired. So Plant is pretty much on the decline in this round. And as he's declining, David Benavidez is actually increasing his output. So he's throwing more punches and he's getting busier in this round. So it gets pretty dangerous for Caleb Plant. This is the round where Caleb Plant got a cut above his right eye. I think it was from a headbutt. I couldn't really see where the clash of heads happened, but I didn't see a punch that caused it, and I got to rewatch it. I didn't see any punch at that moment when he got the cut, but I know that they were close to each other, so I think it was a headbutt that cut right above the right eye on Caleb Plant. So Caleb Plant is pretty much backpedaling in this round, just trying to hang in there. Round 9. Round 9 I gave to David Benavidez as well. Did some great work. But how does round 9 start off? As soon as the round starts, boom! Caleb Plant hits David Benavidez with a low blow. Clear low blow. There's no denying it. It's in high definition low blow. So hits him with a big low blow within the first 10 seconds. You know, Benavidez has to take some time. Ref gives him a couple seconds to recoup, and they continue to have a good back and forth in that round. David Benavidez won that round clearly. He was the winner of that round, just to sum it up. And then at the end of it, David catches Plant with another shot, buckles him again towards the end of that round. Round 10, I gave round 10 to David Benavidez. Clear winner in my opinion. Caleb Plant is pretty much just trying to stay alive at this point. Round 11, I gave round 11 to David Benavidez. Plant isn't moving around as much. You can tell he's super tired. You can tell the punches are wearing him down. So David Benavidez, clear winner for that round. Round 12, the final round of the match. They finally touched gloves. So at the beginning of the round, they touched gloves, and David Benavidez proceeds to win the round. And then there was some good sportsmanship at the end of that round too. So they showed respect for each other. It's the end of the match. What did we learn? We learned that both fighters are strong, competitive, high-level boxers. We also learned that David Benavidez needs to attack the body more. Didn't do too much body punching. That would have helped him out a lot. It would have worked in his favor. He needs to make better use of cutting off the ring. He walked Caleb Plant down a lot, but he didn't capitalize on that as many times as he should have. He pretty much left open opportunities. He left a lot of attacks on the table. He would walk him down, he'd get in front of him, and then he'd stop. He'd stop and think, or he'd stop and try to see what Plant was going to do. So he did a great job of walking him down, but then you got to follow up, finish up strong with some attacks. Don't really wait for him. We also learned that hugging can definitely prevent a beatdown, right? But no, we really learned that Caleb Plant is a warrior. He's not a pushover by any means. He's a super tough, high-level boxer for sure. Loved the sportsmanship at the end of the fight. I'm glad that they buried their so-called beef. I'm glad that's behind them. They buried the hatchet and they're able to move forward in both of their careers. I want to see David Benavidez versus Canelo next. I think that's the fight that everybody's anticipating. All of the boxing fans are anticipating that next. I would also like to see Benavidez versus Charlo. I think that would be a very interesting fight. As far as injuries in this fight, Caleb Plant got the lion's share of the injuries. Of course, he had the cut above his right eye that may have come from a headbutt. He had a broken nose as far as I can tell at the end of the fight. It looks like his nose was broken. Both of his eyes were swollen, especially his right eye, but underneath both eyes were pretty swollen. So he did end up going to get checked out right after that fight just to make sure everything was good. And then he later on posted a tweet saying that no serious injuries. He was pretty good. So I'm pretty sure he'll heal and recover well. But anywho, if you made it to this point, this is the part where you gotta like the video for me. All right, but also for you. It'll make you feel better. It'll make the day brighter. It'll raise your self-esteem, and it's good karma. All right, but yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Y'all be safe out there. You know them streets is treacherous.
Boy, hey man, you stay safe out this motherfucker, boy. Them streets is treacherous.